Let's cross over to Germany, where political crisis is looming in that country as Chancellor Angela Merkel's coalition government is threatened over immigration policies. The Interior Minister of that country, Horst Seehofer, who is from a different party, wants police to turn away undocumented migrants as well as those already registered in the EU. But Angela Merkel, who was criticized for accepting about 1 million in migrants in 2015, says turning them away will hurt other EU countries whose ability to take the migrants in have reached breaking point. Correspondent with our partners DW Jefferson Chase joined us from Berlin with the latest when he spoke to my colleague Mama V. Osuabuaje.
We understand that the Chancellor's coalition government is being threatened because of some immigration policies. Can you run us through exactly where we are with this matter?
Well, basically, where we're at right now is that the problem has been postponed a little bit. What's at stake here is that the Bavarian conservative leader Horst Seehofer, who's also the country's interior minister, he wants the power to send people back at Germany's national border. Now, this is something that usually doesn't happen within the EU because, of course, there's freedom of movement there. But he says that migrants who have been registered in other countries shouldn't be allowed to come into Germany. So basically, he wants to send those people back. He also wants to reject people at the border if the customs officials don't think they have any chance of being granted asylum. So these are two things that he's pushing for. Now, Chancellor Angela Merkel, she doesn't want this. She wants a European-wide, an EU-wide solution to the migrant problem. So basically what happened was they had hours and hours and hours of meetings over the weekend, and there was all sorts of speculation that this could actually doom the German government, that the coalition could break apart because of this fight within the two conservative parties. And what they've agreed is that Merkel now has a little less than 2 weeks' time until the EU Council meeting in Brussels to come up with some sort of European solution that would fulfill these demands that the Bavarian conservatives are making.
And Jefferson, how bad is the situation of migrants in Germany? Of course, we know back in 2015, the Chancellor accepted over 1 million migrants. Is this still growing?
No, the irony here is that actually the migrant situation has eased quite a lot. I'll give you a couple of ballpark numbers. These are the numbers of people who applied for asylum in Germany. That's a good measure of how many people are coming or trying to get into the country. In 2016, it was 750,000. Okay, so that's quite a lot. In 2017, it was down to 222,000, so that's a decrease of almost 200%. And if you project the figures for this year, up until April, only about 68,000 had applied for asylum in Germany. That would put the total number of migrants this year in Germany under this magic number limit of 200,000 per year that the Bavarian conservatives want to see. So the irony is there are actually fewer people coming to Germany trying to get some sort of permanent residency status here. But the perception is, of course, with the rise of the right-wing populists who bang on about this topic every single day, that there are more and more people coming. So it's more of a problem now of what people think than of what's actually happening.
We know the situation, Italy turning away some migrants and Spain eventually accepting them. We know the situation in America as well with Mr. Trump's policies. What do Germans, the ordinary citizens, feel about what is happening? What have they been saying?
Well, I mean, I think the country is really split at the moment. I mean, certainly there are a lot of people that aren't happy about the migration positions of Chancellor Merkel. This is, in some respects, her great weakness. among the populace. People feel that too many people were let in a completely uncontrolled fashion. There have been a lot of high-profile crime stories recently about migrants, so that stirred up some anti-migrant sentiment. On the other hand, there's another half of the population who is perhaps a bit less vocal right now, who's not getting the sort of airtime that the right-wing populists are getting. They think they like the idea of having an EU situation. I mean, ultimately, Germany and the other countries in Europe profit a lot from the fact that there are open borders between EU member states. It makes sense that beefing up EU external border controls is a good way to prevent mass uncontrolled migration. And we can't forget that even though Merkel is under fire, she still remains the most popular politician in Germany. There's no discernible public will to replace her with any other specific figure right now.
That was Mama V. Owusu Abuaje with DW's Jefferson with some update from Germany. But you know, you may know by now that Saudi Arabia has nil and Uruguay won in the ongoing match. And earlier you saw Portugal, scoring Morocco 1. And you know who did that trick? It was Cristiano Ronaldo. So make a date with Gary L. Smith, who comes in after this break for a minute-by-minute account of the ongoing World Cup.